Guys, it is Kevin here in Japan, and this is kind of a reshoot of a video I posted the other day, yesterday morning, video of Gaijins behaving badly, so foreigners behaving badly in Japan. So this is a reshoot because I just wanted to kind of refine it and add a few things. So I decided to take down the original and put this one up. So basically, this video was kind of inspired because of the whole controversy that's going on right now in the Twitterverse here in Japan, the YouTuberverse, the everything social media verse, about this guy from the States called Julian Blanc, who runs this organization called Real Social Dynamics. He basically teaches men how to pick up women and how to have sex with women. He's really vile, real vile guy. This video came out of him going through the streets of Tokyo, grabbing random women's heads and putting them into his crotch and saying that Japanese women like this, which is just insane bullcrap. That's no woman likes that. And he's saying that, you know, this is what you do, come to Tokyo and then you can do this to women, you know, and they like it, which is so not true. And it's really horrible, this video he has, where at the very end he goes into a convenience store and actually this young woman who's a clerk, he tries to put her face in his crotch. And I mean, that's just sexual assault. It's not even harassment, that's assault. You know, guys should like that should get busted and go to jail. But yeah, so, you know, a lot of YouTubers are out there making videos about him. He's getting press now. I just read an article in the Japan Today, the Japan Times by Jake Adelstein about it in Japan Today, Rocket News, all the big, he's getting a lot of coverage. This guy's planning on coming to Japan. I really hope, it seems like there's a real backlash against him, which is deserved, and I hope, you know, this guy makes tons and tons of money by doing this. And he's the kind of guy who gives, like I said, Gaijins, foreigners in a place like Japan, a bad name. Now, what I related to in my past video about was, I think now there's a hashtag takedown Julian Blanc, or Blanc, take down Julian White. Isn't Blanc white in French? Yeah, take down Julian Blanc. But what I talked about in my previous video was that there are definitely some bad apples that give foreigners a bad name, a bad reputation. You get, and I mentioned that, you know, you get, when I lived in Korea, there were members of the US military that would cause a lot of trouble. Only some, of course, but it only takes a few, and then everyone gets painted with a bad brush, you know, or that kind of negative brush. You know, there were clubs that had signs that said no GIs. Often we had to show, like when I was there, my teaching visa, my foreigner identity card had like an actual, like the flag of your country of origin. You'd have to show that you weren't a U.S. service member to get into some bars. It's really unfortunate because that's just, you know, I've got friends who are in the American military. You know, I've met a lot of great people who are in the U.S. Armed Services, Canadian Armed Services, wherever it may be. But you just get a few people that go in and start a fight, break up a place in a bar, commit a violent act against someone, and then all of a sudden, sometimes the local residents consider everyone to be negative, to be bad. And it's not just those, you know, I use that example. I've encountered some people in the military who are like that. And again, I want to say that that's only a few people I met, right? A few bad apples. But it's like that with teachers too. You know, I was a teacher in Korea and I met some jerks, man. I met some real idiots. I met people who basically, once they got to Korea, they felt that there was no boundaries. They could do anything they wanted. They could drink as much as they want. They could fight as much as they want. They could have sex with as many women as they wanted. They could just, they didn't care about social rules. I mean, I can remember seeing foreigners as ripping signs off of stores and restaurants just because they thought it was funny. I told a story one time on YouTube about a couple of foreigners I knew who were drunk, a couple of English teachers who in the middle of the night stole a whole bunch of seafood, live seafood from a seafood restaurant, took it home and just threw it in the sink to die. I've met a lot of people now. Of course, it's just a small percentage of foreigners I've met and I've encountered. Most are good, but the sad thing is that when you come to a place like Japan, you come to a place like Korea, you're going to encounter those kind of people. And it's unfortunate that that happens sometimes. So most people are good. Like that anywhere in the world, right? It doesn't matter what profession you're in or what country you're in, most people in the world are good. Most teachers are good people. Most you know, military service members are very good people. Most accountants are very good people. Most convenience store clerks are very good people. But there are some who aren't, and it's sad that when you get these Gaijin behaving badly, there's a term I've heard before called Gaijin smash, which is just kind of like foreigners who have no regard for social norms. They don't care about the social rules, and they just, come to a place and they act very rudely. There was a thing that used to happen here in Japan called the Yamanote Line Halloween party. And there was something at one time, I believe in Osaka, called the Osaka Loop Line party, where on Halloween night, piles and piles and piles of foreigners would get on the local trains, the Yamanote Line, which is a loop, or the Osaka Loop Line, a loop through the middle of Osaka, and they would party on the train, and they would be hammered drunk, loud, obnoxious. And I mean, that's a train that's filled with people who are coming home at the end of a long day of work, and they don't want to deal with that. Very disrespectful. Both of those parties, I believe, have died out, but that's just an example of the Gaijin smash thing. So yeah, I just wanted to kind of talk about the topic and share some of that info with you, some stories. And yeah, so it really seems like there's this social movement to take down Julian Blanc is moving along. I'll put some links below so you can learn a little bit more about it, to Victor Give Me a Break Man's video and maybe Scott Unrested's video, because they talk a lot more about it than, they can give you a backstory if you're not familiar with it already. So check the links below, check the link to the podcast, all that stuff, guys, all below. And remember, like the video if you like it, okay? And subscribe to the channel.